We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. We are back in the studio with Jesse Nguyen. Thanks for being with us today. Jesse is a wholesaler, a flipper, owns Delaware Home Buyers. So you're on the other side of the country from us, and you're just absolutely killing it in your business right now. It's so fun to listen to your stories. So Trevor wants to dive in a little bit more, I think, not only into your deals, but into your business and how you're scaling your business, growing your business. So I'm gonna turn it over to Trevor.
Yeah. So I want to, because you had a big transition point where you were losing money on all these flips and whatnot, and then you figured out how to make money. Tell how many deals were you doing at that point? What time point was that? And then what are you doing today? What are you trying to do going forward to start?
I mean, I didn't lose a ton of money when it came to flip. I think I've lost.
It's more just working really hard to not make
anything.
It is pretty crazy when you spend 3 to 4 months just to lose $20,000 and be stressed and have to do it, or when you have to do a repair list, like an inspection addendum for the buyer, and you're already losing money, and you're just like, wow, I'm really resenting this entire transaction. But who am I to go complain to? You know, I put myself in this position. But last year we only lost on about 2 or 3 deals in total, and the majority of the deals we did fine on. And this year we're inspecting pretty much everything that we're closing on, as long as, you know, like, there's an opportunity for us to go back and retrade or back out of the deal. There are some deals where it's just like, no, this is a slam dunk deal, obviously. Like, we picked one up in Wilmington last week for $145, and it already had nice carpet, it had nice cabinets, stainless steel appliances. We just need to rip out the floors and do new paint. And I think the area is worth like $225 to $250. And it's like, wow, this is a pre-foreclosure too. So I mean, the guy was okay with walking away with zero. He just didn't want a foreclosure on his record. So we picked it up, and we're gonna put 25 into it, and I think we'll clear somewhere in the ballpark of 35 to 50, just depending on if we're over budget, over timeline. You know, what are the other costs?
Yeah. But so how many deals did you do in 2024?
56 or 57.
Yeah, that's a lot for a wholesaling flipping company, right, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, that's 5 a month, 4 or 5 a month.
Yeah, which is an insane amount. And then how much did you do the year before that?
How many of those were flips versus contract assignments? Like, just a rough ratio.
Like 60-40, close. Yeah, so we were heavier on assignments, definitely 60.
So you signed like 30 to 40 and then flipped 15-ish?
Yeah, that's
a lot of freaking projects. That is a lot of projects.
We're trying to get up to 20 projects. 20 projects this year. We're trying to be a 70-30 ratio. So this year we're aiming for about 80 transactions. I think it was like 80 or 88 transactions and 70-30, because it's like we can scale assignments, but it's very hard to scale construction and private money. And it's like, we just want to be profitable when we're doing these deals, and we don't want to be holding on to the highest liability projects that could run into problems with permitting or holding costs. And then like mental capacity. Like, I think mental real estate is something that people don't really think of. Is like, if I sign up for this deal, how much of a headache is it going to be? How much attention am I going to need to allocate for this?
And then before you did your 50-something deals, how many did you do before that, the year before?
We did like 23 closed.
Okay. And then that's when you had 30,000 profit and you went to like 600 or whatever.
Yeah.
What was the main difference from going from that point to now?
Being more bold with the marketing spend, trusting your numbers, knowing that, hey, if you put this much money in ads, that you're going to expect, 4 to 6x. And if you're not getting 4 to 6x, stop it real quick and then reevaluate your strategy.
So did your transaction volume pick up significantly, or are you just being better with your efficiency and your expenses and how you're spending and where you're spending?
No, as soon as we start spending more money, the leads start coming.
The volume increased significantly.
And we have a really good appointment to contract ratio. I think it was 1 of 4. And at one point we were hitting 1 of 3 for like Q3, and that was where we signed the most amount of contracts. So it was pretty insane. So we're a very high performing group in our state, and I think it also attributes to people feel comfortable with our Google reviews. People feel comfortable that they can go to our office and sign. People feel comfortable that, hey, we show up to an appointment prepared. We show up with a seller packet that's like, I think it's like 6 pages, and it basically outlines the team, the process, what to expect. Here are our testimonials, So
Yeah, like a credibility kit.
Yeah, because wholesalers here don't do it legit.
Yeah,
hell no.
It's not a business.
You're providing credibility in a market where your competitors are not doing that.
Well, and even here, like I'd say the most, how do you define a credible wholesaler? I guess as a seller, you define a credible wholesaler as someone who's actually going to get the deal done. How many credible wholesalers are there in the Portland area? 3, 4?
I don't know. I'm not in that space.
Yeah, and I guarantee you none of them have credibility kits that they take to the front door. They have 19-year-old kids trying to negotiate spaghetti on the wall or throw spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks. So what I'm hearing is someone who spent money to turn their operation into a business, and now you're actually running it like a business rather than just an operation.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, I still look relatively young, like early 20s. I could be like 20, 21, 22, and I was still buying houses when I was 19, and never did people come into question whether this 20-year-old was going to perform and close on my house.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, I don't know many 26.
Well, the people that you close deals with, but your closing ratio was a lot less. And so that's how you see the difference. Does that make sense? Like if you're closing 1 out of 9 as a 19-year-old, but you're closing 1 out of 3 as a 27-year-old.
You know what's crazy? My business partner is 50 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, and I'm not trying to say anything about age. It's experience is what it is. Is the guys that are running those companies that are spending 10 to 20 grand a month in ad spend to create, they're not sitting in the living rooms. They're not going to the meetings. They own the company. They might be involved on the disposition side, but it's cold callers, it's VAs, and then it's inexperienced people going to the actual meetings with the sellers and actually putting stuff in escrow.
So I'm curious too, how do you actually generate these leads? Because if you're closing 1 out of 4, that means you have 220 leads you came through. So you're going on an appointment every single business day, basically?
Yeah, we're trying to be on 1 appointment a day, trying to be in the ballpark of 6 to 10 a week. If we can be in 6 to 10 a week, we can sign 2 contracts regularly every week, and we can hit our goals that way.
So how do you make that happen? How much dollars are you spending? What are you spending on? Where do the leads come from? What are all the channels?
I think between 30 and 40 grand in just ad spend. But then we have
Every month?
Yeah. And then we have personnel as well. So
He spends more on marketing than you, Gabe. You got to up your SMI marketing.
No, he's not there yet.
yeah.
But his return is much better.
40% margin is insane.
4 to 6x. Yeah.
No, I got like a LeBron James on my outside sales though, because when I send my guy Kenny, oh man, the guy is just like, I'm like a vampire. Once you let me in, I forgot the joke. I need. Oh man.
So Kenny's the person going to the appointments that are set by someone else on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you spend 30 to 40 grand on what? Mailers or paper? Like what?
Yeah. So we spend money on mailers. That's majority of our spend. Honest, that's probably half the spend. We spend substantial money.
How many mailers do you get? So you spend 15 grand on mailers. How many does that get you?
I think about 20,000 mailers. Yep.
Okay.
And then we spend money on paper leads. So we were not committed to writing our own Google ads. We did not have the confidence in it. So we were paying companies like Need to Sell My House Fast at one point, and then the leads went to garbage. And we were paying Motivated Leads, Property Leads, and these companies came to a point where the quality got really shitty, and then they started scamming pretty much everybody, and then the refund policies went really shitty, and all of a sudden it's like they're selling multiple leads to different people. It's becoming a total shit show. So we need to transition to pay-per-click so that, hey, we can control, we could at least control what ads are going out and what response, because we don't know what these guys are advertising. They could be like, hey, click here if you want to offer from a hedge fund, and all of a sudden you're getting a call from a local home buying company. That's the wrong messaging. And all of a sudden, right off the rip, they don't trust you.
Mm-hmm. How much did those cost when you were doing pay-per lead for those?
It went from $300 to $700. That's
just to get their contact information.
Yeah, we were getting scammed at $700.
And then they'd even, importantly, they got to like $1,200-$1,500 per lead.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because you need somewhere between 8 and 11 to convert.
Yeah, they're a lower conversion rate just because it's not as organic.
So on mailers, you're converting way more. So like on your mailer, what do they scan a QR code, go to a website? Or they call you? How do you?
They call. They generally call, and then we have lead managers. We have one guy in...
Is that VA?
Yeah, we have VA. We have one in the Philippines, and then we have one in Costa Rica. And they're very, very good, well-trained. We're repeatedly training sales every single day. So this is part of our success plan and process. Honestly, we're not training acquisition as much, and that's one of the big goals for 2025 is that we'll get... Kenny's just talented. He's like a freak, you know? So if we can get very good at training Kenny, we'll probably convert 1 of 3 consistently throughout the year. Right now we're like between, we're probably at 1 of 4.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you changed it to pay-per-click. What is pay-per-click? Now you're running the ads? So
the plan would be to hire a vendor, see their process, because they're going to let us control our Google Ads account. And then we're going to see what they're doing with it, and then eventually we're going to bring it in-house. There are some companies where they run the ads for you, but they don't give you control of your account. So, you don't see the secret sauce, essentially. So we're going to try to figure out how to do it ourselves probably later this year. But in the meantime, we're going to bring on a third-party pay-per-click company as a manager.
And then for you scaling, are you just spending more money on those 2 lead funnels then, or are you doing something else to get
We have pre-foreclosures. So we have a VA that's a data scrubber and does a lot of the CRM management and making sure that new leads that come in from, because the pre-foreclosures are free public information. It's the lowest cost per dollar lead. It's amazing, and it's high quality. These are all motivated people, but they get hit up so much by these cold callers, and I don't know how our team does it. I think they just call these people so much, or we don't text, but they're performing, and maybe they see our mail piece because they're also on the other lists. So then they actually respond to us when we say we're Delaware home buyers. That's where the credibility comes.
Branding.
Yeah, so that's how we got that $145 deal, and then we're probably gonna make between 35 and 50 and cash convert in under 90 days. That's a pretty insane deal.
Yeah, it'll cover 1 more month of marketing.
All right.
So how many properties are you going to hold this year? How many are you going to portfolio? And how do you start creating metrics around that? Or do you just want to have a high tax business for the rest of your life?
Oh, that's not the rest of my life. So I think between the next 18 and 24 months, I'll look for opportunity to invest long-term and play long-term that way. But for now, it's we got to get really good at operating the business, really sharp, work towards the goals. We have 5-year vision goals to do $4 to $4.5 million in revenue and serve 800 families in Delaware. So that's the main focus. I'm not really trying to do the whole shiny object thing, because that's super big amongst entrepreneurs. Just focus on, or they spread their focus too thin, and they're just it's still all real estate, but it's really it's not the same thing, and you're underperforming in the things that you should be performing well in. So I'm just trying to perform super well in the wholesale, flipping, and wholesale game, and use that reputation to catapult me into the long-term asset game. Because at the end of the day, if we can build this division really good, and we're master marketers for Delaware, we could turn and use that same marketing machine towards commercial, and we'll be well capitalized. We have reputation, everything backing us. So it's going to be way better than if we try to do it all at the same time.
Are you only doing deals in Delaware?
Yeah, we're only focused on doing deals in Delaware.
So, and you said Delaware's got about 1 million people?
It's got 1 million people.
So it seems to me like you can build your branding to where you don't need all these lead generation. You just create your own leads. You should, by now, you've been doing this for a little while, a couple years. You're putting out a lot of mail. You're doing some signage and stuff. Couldn't you guys just saturate the market to where everybody just thinks there's only one way to sell your house?
These sellers are a little different than your sellers.
These sellers
they don't. You have to find them. You have to
go
get to them.
Nudge them.
Yes, it's not omnipresence the way that you do it in the commercial world.
In their specific time and moment that they are feeling a certain way.
Yeah. You want to be top of mind awareness. You want in that moment where they said, "Holy shit, I got to sell." You want them to have your phone number somehow programmed in their memory.
It's a better call Saul moment.
Yeah, you can have sent 25 mail pieces in 5 years, or no, 25 mail pieces in 3 years, and then one guy just shows up. He just shows up
out of nowhere.
Sends 2 mail pieces, and he converts and gets that deal and makes $50,000.
Yeah. My dad always used to say he knew he was wasting half of his ad dollars. He just didn't know which half. It's like you don't know. You have to spend all the money to get the results. You just don't. You have to hone it, like you said. And when you're running an ad that's not generating anything, you got to shift your focus.
Well, you guys are good at tracking all that now, right? Because you'll pivot depending on what's happening with all your marketing.
How do you see your role evolving as your goals keep getting built out on your team?
Yeah, so I'm going to elevate up. I mean, I'm still CEO. I'm just not getting paid for the role of CEO. So I'm going to elevate up to that. And as long as I can be productive in that and it makes sense for the company, then we're going to hire this position. And then I'll go CEO, take salary, and get paid profit share. And then hopefully the company can grow up to the point that it's 4 to 4.5 and sustain that point. And that'd be good. And then maybe my COO will eventually elevate up to CEO, and then he'll get a COO. And then I just go into owner and advisor, and then I want to go build out hard money lending company, because the local hard money lending companies, the way that these loans work, you could do a 12-3 or a 12-4 loan, 70% LTV, people bringing money to closing like 15 to 20 grand, and they're bringing the first round of construction and you're reimbursing them, but they're paying that 1 point a month on the total loan balance, not what is already released, which is totally different than the national hard money lenders, whereas like you're only paying interest on what you've taken.
So locally you have a higher cost of funds and you're getting charged in a more egregious way,
but they can work really fast. And I think like people trust local versus like national in Delaware. I think that's one of the biggest things about my market is people want to work with actual real people that they have a relationship with. So the vertical would be wholesale the deal, fund the deal, possibly get the deal back on the back end as a listing agent or somebody on my team as a listing agent. So we make money 3 ways.
And you want to create your own hard money lending company to do that?
Yeah. So it would be my funds, my partner's funds, and then other investors who have invested with us along the way. And we'll still be flipping wholesale, so we can make the 4.5 over here. We can, I don't know what the cap could look like for hard money lending, but I could see we can make a whole ton of money without a lot of staff, high profit margin business. And if we're lending on the deals that we've already seen, we know these deals are going to work out. And if we have to take them back, we understand the local system on how to get the properties back via deed in lieu of foreclosure. Like people are pre-signing deed in lieu of foreclosures as settlement, so you can file these things as soon as they default if you want the property back. Most of the time you want to build your reputation good, so you work with your borrowers. But for the most part, it's like if they went ghost, you could take the property back, go use their last round of draws, go finish the project, flip it, return your investors all their money. If that's the contingency plan, that's a pretty good contingency plan. So we have those two avenues of active income plus the brokerage, and then funnel all of that into commercial investments. And honestly, I'm like a Dave Ramsey type of guy. Like I've led a financial peace university at my church, and I don't know. I know you could buy real estate with no money, but if you're going no money, the money got to come from somewhere. So you're taking on more risk, more leverage, in order to do these no money deals. When it's like, if I could bring some money to the table, it's like, okay, I could take some risk off and, get an ROI, like return on equity,
Why in your mind does it feel like when you bring cash to a deal, there's less risk? Doesn't that mean that if you lose the deal, you lose your money?
I'm more okay with that than losing my friend's money and then losing the friendship and my reputation.
Yeah, you don't want to lose other people's money.
Yeah.
But you can lose your own money. Or you could just buy a deal with no money, but then if you lose the deal, you lose the deal, so then you lose the reputation because you lost a deal is what you're saying. You don't want to lose the deal. That's the ultimate failure, is to foreclose on a deal. So by putting your own cash in, you're building a safety net so that
you have more cushion.
So that you don't, even if the market drops, you're still okay because you're not over levered.
Yeah, I think money can always come back. You can always make more money. But when it comes to relationships, I think those are actually finite.
Yep.
It's like you only have so many chances to prove yourself And it's like once you go sideways and burn a relationship, it's really hard to earn that trust back.
Yeah, and we've all spent a lot of time, like you, building reputation. And the second you lose a deal, you lose your reputation.
Yeah, and a lost dollar can't convince other dollars in your pocket to become lost. But a lost reputation can convince other people to not like you.
I've made some people tens of thousands of dollars in this business, and if I had lost them like $1,000, even though I've made them $20,000, they count that $1,000 more than the $20,000 that I have made.
Yep.
Humans are a fickle bunch.
Gabe, what do you
Weird.
What do you think about Jesse's plan of making all this money to go buy commercial real estate? Do you think that's backwards in your opinion? Because this is conversation.
It's not the way my brain
It's
works.
philosophical, man, at that point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go out and think, well, I can't get into the bigger deals yet because I don't have enough money. And I just, that's just not the way my brain works. Like, I just think there's other ways to get into it. You can use investor money. You can find high levered, deals. There's other ways to get in. But I think that ultimately what you're doing is you're learning how to make a lot of money, and you'll find that the IRS is going to dip their hand in your pocket, and you're going to get sick of that at some point, and you're going to try to find a way to game the system to where they won't do that. And the way to do that is you can continue to run that business, but you need to hold assets so you have the depreciation to cover.
And that's why I asked you what you saw your future self, because if you evolved to a CEO and you're no longer running a role in your business, then you just become one of your buyers. And then you just portfolio some depreciation so you can write off some of your income. Like, that's just the easy, natural progression of what you're working on. So it doesn't even have to detract from your business in order to create some tax savings or havens in how you structure your life. I'm curious, what do you think is the most valuable skill that you're learning right now? Is it the construction side? Is it the acquisition side? Is it the disposition side? Is it just the leadership skill, business building skill? What's the most valuable to you right now?
So right now, we're investing a lot of financial resources into this consulting so that we can, I guess ultimately it boils down to leadership. It boils down to leadership and finances. And if you can understand how to leverage a bunch of other people who are very talented and better than you in certain things and have them perform at a high capacity and be very passionate about what they're doing and where they're going, then you can multiply your results versus you being part of this thing and you operating that seat. So that's one of the big things. But also it's like, how are you reviewing your balance sheet, your profit and loss, making decisions off of those things, decisions that make sense? And are you making the right decisions that are getting you the ROI that you need in order to run a profitable business? I think that, I don't know, I may have botched up this answer.
No, not at all. You're talking about moving higher level, and that's exactly what a CEO does, is you start to see things from a higher altitude to where you're not in the weeds as much, and you're reviewing your business to make sure that the parts are moving the way they need to be moving.
Yeah, I think it's really important for me to learn how to build a business first. So that's why I'm not really focused about the money as much as the lessons that come with building up that company you're
focused on the profitability. That's a key focus for you, it looks like.
And the personnel, effective personnel, people who are meant to be in the seats that they are in, and that at the end of the day, you have very good retention, people are performing, hitting their numbers, and people are not burnt out, and this is sustainable. So it's we can run a $4 million revenue company for 5 to 10 to 20 years, as long as, we keep on changing and adjusting our marketing strategy, because that's the one thing that always changes when it comes to this wholesale real estate. But it's like a car, auto business, where cars are always breaking down, or hospitals, people are always breaking down, and then the guy goes to the hospital and then foot the bill, So it's like houses too. We're like the house business. We're like the inconvenience business for houses.
Yeah. In our last episode, you talked about your prefrontal lobe and not being fully developed. You wanted to, what drew you to real estate was not working, but it sounds like you work a lot. Do you feel like you're doing the work you want to do, or that you have the time freedom you're looking for? Is real estate giving you what you set out to get when you were 17 years old?
So I work actively 50 hours a week, and then I try to stop working after 6 p.m. I got a kid now. It's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 14-week-old.
Wow.
His name is Forrest.
And your wife let you fly to Oregon to hang out with Trevor?
I mean, my birthday was on Saturday.
Oh, okay. All right. You get a free pass.
Yeah, once a year.
Go party with Trevor for the weekend. Talk
Going
deals.
snowboarding tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for that. But no. When going back to work, I don't think I overwork myself really at all. I mean, I'm always thinking about deals. I'm always thinking about the business. But most of the time, I'm always thinking about the people that I'm working with. It's like, wow, like my partner Kenny is going to be able to move up 1 hour north because he's in a really shitty zip code right now, just in Dover. This is like the capital of Delaware. This is where drugs, crime, the school districts suck. And then it's just like, you're not good influences for his kids. He got 4 under 10. And we found this one deal from this guy at the bank. His name is Rob. He's the bank manager. He's my boy. And he's like, hey, my mom and aunts inherited this property. And it's a shit house. I don't know if this is something you want. And I was like, okay, let me take a look at it. It's in like the best zip code in Wilmington. I mean, besides Greenville, which is Joe Biden's zip code. But this is like the next best zip code. And $350. I mean, we made them the offer at $350. We built the relationship with them. So we use all these skills, these sales skills from the wholesale business. Kenny went and looked at the property too. Nice, great 2,800 square foot house, 4-bed, 2.5 bath. You know, we're just regular suburban people. This is like not like crazy baller house by any means. But the fact that, okay, if Kenny gets this house, he will live 10 minutes away from work. His kids will go to a much better school district. They will live in a much better area. He would get a house upgrade, and he would have $200,000 in equity after doing the full gut renovation. Because this is a $700,000 house. He's gonna get it for $350, and we have the hard money lenders and everything. They'll give us 100% purchase, 100% rehab. Maybe we'll just be out of pocket $30,000, get it back on the last draw, but it's life changing. So
Yeah.
like, I just think about, dang, this business is super life changing, not just for the people in our community, but for the people in our company as well.
Absolutely. So is real estate giving you today what 17-year-old Jesse wanted out of real estate? This is it for you? You love real estate? You're a deal junkie? You're going to keep doing deals?
Yeah, no, I'm like a business junkie, man.
If I could sell you a business where you could work half as hard and make twice as much.
Yeah, you're not a real estate junkie. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I don't think you care about the real estate.
He's a systems and profitability junkie.
It's just the vehicle that you're.
Well, he loves deals, but he looks at them through a different lens.
It's not
a very short.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're geeked out on the deals, but you're not geeked out on owning the building.
Sticks and bricks don't matter to you, do they?
Honestly, like I think about like if I were to die in my 30s, you know. So it's like if I were to die in my 30s, none of it would really matter. And it's like what Forrest or my wife would inherit these properties, or my partners would inherit these properties, and it's like it's about the relationship. They wish they would have had more time with me at the end of the day, you know. And same with them. So it's like one of my core values, or one of my values, is like the relationship aspect. So it's like I would get the business that you're saying if, hey, I got a ton of people that I would consider, I don't know, family, or like to some extent, like an extension of my family. Really great people. They have hopes and dreams. I can contribute towards building those hopes and dreams. And yeah, I would do that. But if it was a bunch of lawyers and people who have like miserable lives, hell no. No matter how much money that business makes, or if it was like a loan shark business, I'm like, that's a shitty business because of whatever that mission is, you know.
Sure.
Depends on what we're accomplishing together as a team and who's on that team, you know.
It's interesting to hear it coming from a wholesaler that you have a heart and you care about your end user. I mean, I don't think that a lot of people think of wholesalers in those terms. So it's cool. I mean, what you've built is really impressive.
We see so much evidence that shows that that's just not the case
for a lot of people. Well, I mean, any business there's going to be bad actors, but I just feel like in that particular industry, they just get a bad rep, and probably for a good reason. A lot of them are shysters.
A lot of wholesalers take it to the last day before they cancel a contract. And this is my alarm for my afternoon nap.
Cute baby. I saw a picture of your baby. Boy or girl?
Boy.
Oh, man, that's fun.
So people take it to the last day when it comes to canceling a contract, or maybe they just ghost the seller. And I think that's very low integrity move, and that's very bad for reputation. And at the end of the day, that's just like, I don't know how I could live with myself if I, cannot keep a promise to somebody else when I said I was going to help them.
Well, and it goes on the other side too. That's the side on the seller who's relying on you. But then on the other side, it's your rehab's 40 when it's really 80, or your ARV's 500 when it's really 450. That's where it's a wholesaler is fully against the flipper from a aligned incentive standpoint, as far as getting accurate information, ensuring that you're successful. Those are just contradictive. Like even you even said it yourself. You inspect everything you take down. How many of your buyers do you allow inspect what you wholesale?
Well, they're self-inspecting.
Yeah.
We're third-party inspecting the stuff.
Sure.
And we're going really hard on the first 10 days of due diligence.
Yep.
If we're going to take it down. And
for you, yeah. But on the other side, like, this is why I don't work with wholesalers. They have their process that they want to go down. I'm like, well, I have my process, and your process shifts every single piece of risk onto my shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's why I have my process to ensure that I can evaluate my risk. And that's just another example of where it's a huge contradictive scenario. So it is interesting to hear the words that you use, because it is unique for the part of the industry that you're in.
Yeah, I think most fix and flippers are actually not very sophisticated when it comes to measuring their risk. So they'll put money into the project continuously even after they exhausted their draws, and then they get this big check from settlement. Take a picture of it, snap it onto Instagram. Oh yeah, I made $100,000. But it's like, oh well, you only got $20,000 in draws from your lender because you were maxed out on your LTV, and you had to also spend another $50 on top of that, and then
then you paid taxes.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, you really netted somewhere in like 30.
Go work a job for $15 an hour and make the same thing.
You didn't have to pay any taxes on your flips.
No, I got a huge tax break. I found a way to flip houses and make it to where you don't have to pay taxes. You want to know the secret? You just lose a lot of money. Like a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it.
I'm looking forward to my $60,000 tax break in 2025 too.
It's nothing better than telling a lender why you have carry forward losses.
How are you getting a $60,000 tax break?
Oh, losing money on a flip. Learning it from the best.
It's only 60 though. You haven't. I mean, I don't know if you've really learned the lesson yet.
I don't know. That's why I don't want to buy a big building, because then I'm gonna lose way more than 60.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know how to operate these things,
I bet within 18 months this guy is gonna be. I need to buy one big building a year. That's it, just one. But you're gonna do.
Oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna see a big deal. He's gonna have to do it.
Well, you were trying to start your commercial division. We hopped on a call with you and your buddy, and you were trying to get it going. That's shiny object. What are you talking about?
I would love to have a good partner on that end. Like, let's say like a 10 to 20% equity partner.
Like an operating partner?
Yeah, operating partner. It's like they don't need to know anything about real estate. I mean, this is my idea. It's just like they don't need to know anything about real estate. Engineer minded.
Wait.
I'll teach them everything about real estate. That was kind of my thing. And it's like I'll bring them in on salary. I'll give them a little bit of equity so they have a piece of the upside. And then it's like, so this is where like I learned you want to work with people before you work with people. So it's like, how can I work with this person in a capacity without committing to them in a long-term partnership?
You want to date them before you marry them.
Exactly. So if I could do that to a capacity with somebody that I think could be that operating partner, then cool. Let's see how they perform. Because that's honestly how my partner Kenny and I became partners, is because we flipped a house together and we owned the title in two different, his LLC, my LLC. Weird way to own a title, but whatever. And he showed up every single day for the flip, and I lived an hour away. I just gave him the knowledge and the expertise, and he wanted to learn how to flip. He knew how to find deals, and he knew how to sell people. Was like he wanted to learn the construction and project management end, and he asked so many questions. Very inquisitive character, and now he's taking over. He's wearing the hat for the project management seat right now. We're trying to hire the head of project management in the next 90 days in our business. But he's running project management.
But that works. He knows. That works for you teaching him in an asset class that you understand, but for you to get into an asset class that you don't understand, you need an operator. You need someone that knows that asset class.
Yeah. So it's what I'm thinking is like we would bring in somebody who's an experienced operator. Could be you guys, and then I would go in with a partner who can keep tabs and notes and keeping track of all the bases, because even if you're married, someone got to go pay the bills. Someone can make the money, hopefully the other person could pay the bills and run the systems for the house. You know?
You're looking for asset management.
Duplicate it in-house. You learn through that first partnership to duplicate it in-house. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
You just need to learn what a deal is, which you'll be able to do because you know how to dig up these sweet deals. It's no different. It's just you just have to go learn it. Once you do, you'll look at a building and go like, oh my God, instead of going like, oh, I ripped this house for $1.25, you're gonna go like, oh, I ripped this commercial building for $2 million or whatever. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just then you're gonna own it. You're gonna go, well, you can't really flip that building. You're gonna have to own it, improve the rent roll, keep it for at least a few years. For us, a flip is like a 3-year hold.
Yeah.
Like that's about as short as it's gonna get. Maybe 2 years.
That's why I would love to have an operating partner and like give them a piece of upside. Maybe it's even less than 20%. Maybe it's like less than 10%.
Yeah, they just get a piece. Yeah. Somebody that wants to be an employee-minded person that wants a little piece of the action, but doesn't want to be an owner.
Give them like 80.
There's
20.
Those people
like,
exist.
Great. Yeah, that's great.
Did you ever do anything with that list of apartments I gave you in Delaware?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that, bro.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It doesn't matter.
We had a whole phone call about this, just expanding your marketing list, the garaging notes, and you haven't done that yet?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, dude. I just lost all
gathering
respect
info
for you.
Gathering info.
What'd you call the place in Delaware where all the drugs are? Dover?
Dover.
I want to own some apartments in Dover. That sounds cool.
Honestly, we probably will own in Dover. Actually.
You will, for sure. I can see it already.
No, I think we could buy a couple hundred units there, and I don't know. It's the city of Wilmington is like 50% vacant. I was talking to Trevor about that. It was like, dude, sometimes some of these local like politics and legislation, this is like where this is where when 2008 happened and there was a bunch of banks in Delaware, some of them went belly up and then they just never like refilled some of those commercial spots, and it's just like so many square feet vacant
of office and retail.
Mm-hmm.
How's multifamily out there?
That was good.
Multifamily's okay.
There's a big shortage in multifamily. I think there was only I think there's less than 200 like 4 units and under like units
that exist
in Delaware. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's no plexes there.
I own one of the few quadplex, and it's grandfathered in. So I was like, if this thing burns down, I'm done.
Can't build another one.
Can't build another one, man. But I got the other lot, so I could build 2 houses.
Oh my God!
Man, at that point, I'd probably flip it and go buy my Delaware mansion.
Man.
So is your wife gonna make you move out of your fourplex now that you got a kid?
No, we staying here as long as we can, because as you get older, your expenses only get higher.
He's gonna move an in-line to that 1-bedroom Airbnb.
Yeah, I'm gonna move back into the quadplex once all my kids move out of the house. That's my dream.
Are you planning on having more kids too?
I'm planning on having 4.
4.
And if the Lord provides, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
He'll be happy to go back to that fourplex when he's old.
He never listened to Gabe's rule.
Yeah, but he was raised in this kind of a thing where cousins,
kind of a thing.
Yeah, there's just people everywhere.
Where families like each other.
Yeah. He was fruitful and he multiplied.
Kenny got 9 kids, so
damn.
9 kids.
No wonder he needs a new house. Damn.
Give his wife a break, man.
Doesn't have a wife.
What? How do you get 9? How do you get 9 kids? Surrogate mothers?
3 different partners.
Wow.
Went to prison for 8 years at one point.
Oh my gosh, this guy's salt of the earth. He's seen some things.
Yeah. So here's his joke that he told me the other day. All right.
Are you gonna get this one right, or is this gonna be like the vampire?
I'm gonna get this one right. All right. So he went to his house appointment, and then he bends down and checks the sink just to see if there's any leaks. And he sags his pants because he's just a African American fella. You know what I mean? Has his pants sagging, and then he goes to talk to the seller, and his seller is just like, Kenny, I told you not to bring any drugs to my house. I'm not. Get out of my. And he's just like, oh, what are you talking about? I didn't. I came clean. He's like, when you bent down, too much crack. Get out of my house.
This is your partner.
Yeah,
he's the crack dealer.
He made this joke on our level 10 the other day.
I love it.
It's funny because we have a moderator. It's not even somebody in our company. And she's just like, because of my company policies, I can only tell dad jokes as much as I would love to tell.
Tell Kenny jokes.
Do you run on EOS still?
No, we run on something called Rise.
Is it same idea or similar, or what's the difference?
Well, we don't have rocks anymore, so we have this.
Oh, thank God! Tell me
Gabe
about
hates
this one.
rocks.
Don't give me any rocks.
We have this thing called the 4. So it's just like 4 things that the whole team needs to get done in the next 90 days.
Oh,
Isn't
It's
that
a
rock?
rocks.
it's a rock.
It's the same
Well-
fucking thing. Every system's the same, just different.
Different words.
Yes. Yeah. But here's the thing. Our implementer was like, I hate rocks because sometimes people make it like, so is it a big rock, a boulder? Is it a pebble?
Yeah.
Small rock. You know, it's like, okay, this is the worst conversation I've ever had in my life. So they boiled it down to, this is just the 4 things. Doesn't need to be a complicated 4. Maybe one person has 2 of those 4.
I feel like L10 meetings are like it's like I'm having the same meeting over and over.
Well, that's because we
Groundhog's Day.
We run ours very poorly right now.
Oh, that's what it is.
it's
We do it
an
wrong.
really
you need
bad.
implementer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You got,
they said I'm the implementer. I don't even
do
know
you
what I'm
guys-
supposed to do.
Are you guys doing same page meetings?
not for Stack, no. But we run that meeting like really like that's an actual issue. We just waste an hour and a half every Friday doing
Get an
like,
implementer.
I haven't read the book. You guys got to tell me how to do the meeting right so we can do it right.
Yeah, level 10 is supposed to be high level stuff. So if you're not doing a same page meeting, then you don't actually do
What's
a level
same
10.
page meeting?
You're just your normal weekly bullshit where you're just on the same page. Your visionary and your implementer are on the same page as far as where your company's
our
going.
problem is we still didn't establish a visionary integrator very well. Like Dane doesn't want to take the role of running the like being in charge, but that's kind of his role right
yeah.
now. But
Yeah.
he doesn't feel like he can tell you like, hey,
He's not qualified. Yeah.
to tell you like, hey, get
Yeah.
in line.
Dude, this is the craziest thing because honestly, I remember when I was like 18, 19, 20, I was like, oh man. And then I went to the Maui Mastermind, right, with Brandon, and it's like, oh man, I'm an imposter. Why am I here? But then it's like these 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds are telling me that they feel like imposters and why are they here too? And it's like, you never get out of this mindset. It's like that's a limiting belief that you put on yourself. As cheesy and corny as limiting beliefs sound, it's really like, okay, well, if you're going to reach and go to another point in your life and elevate up in terms of skills or abilities, you're always somebody that you're not. If you're just going to be in your comfort zone and not be an imposter, you're not growing. So at that point, it's just like throw that BS out the window and just walk in there and try to grow and run into a couple walls, look like an idiot, but at least move forward. And it's okay because people respect that, hey, you're at least trying to make the situation better and you're honest and that you're pulling everyone along with you. Everyone else is growing. But if you're holding yourself back from being an imposter, you're holding your entire team down as well and being a weight.
Yeah. It's good advice. I like that.
So when you went to the Maui Mastermind, because you went twice, right? I think
I've been 3 times.
3 times. Were you there when Mike was there?
I don't think so.
No, or right after him. What was your thoughts when you first signed up for that? Because you went when you're like 21 years old, and everyone there's average age 50. Like
No, I could not believe that they picked me to come because I think they had like a roster of like 70 people, and there was like 2 different groups. It was like not like an A and a B squad, and but it was like, okay, well, these people are coming in September or August, and these people are coming in September, and I got to go to the August group. And I was like, okay, cool. So they selected 30, and the other 30, so it's like 60 people, and I guess another 15 people didn't make it, or another 20 people didn't make it. And then I talked to Tarl, my friend, who was the one in charge of orchestrating the entire event, and he was just like, hey, I used to be the 20-year-old investor, and I wanted to, when I saw you on the roster or in the applications, like I believe in you, so I just wanted you to be here because I thought you would get something out of it. So I was like, wow, oh shit. So maybe there's not a lot of other 20-year-old investors that would shoot their shot the way that I did. And I was just in disbelief that, dang, I was in Mount. But honestly, that was like one of my, not the worst. That was not a bad financial decision looking back at it because I got ROI. But say I didn't get an ROI, it's just like, well, I just shelled out 10 grand. And I didn't know my profit and loss at all. I didn't even know if I was probably losing money, and I was still
She went 10 grand more in the hole. Didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just went to Maui and just had this great vacation. I could have turned into one of those stories.
You're in the education phase, though. It's all education. So
you wouldn't be here today.
No, wouldn't be.
and he wouldn't be friends with Brandon Turner, be famous.
I was on Brandon's podcast.
Man, they can't even get me on there. They said they're going to put me on there one day, but I'm not even to your
Yeah,
level
because
yet.
they asked him to fill out the application, and he's like, I don't wanna fill anything out.
yeah, I don't fill out applications. I think I'm more important.
That would have worked on
Big.
Bigger Pockets. That probably doesn't work for his new one.
I need Trevor to fill out the application for me.
You know, I
Jesse already made the intro. He
did.
set it
Thank
up.
you.
He set
I'll do
set
it.
up.
I'll do it. I saw Brandon when I was in Maui last time, and he was sitting behind me having a cup of coffee. But he was with his daughter, and they were eating waffles, and I felt bad to go over and introduce myself. So next time I see him over there,
Just tell him you know Jesse.
I know.
Yeah, all you got to do is walk up and say, like, we have like 5 friends in common.
Gabe Hamill, Jesse.
I'm just, I don't know. Dude's having
Mike
waffles with his daughter.
Or you
I don't
can
wanna
say,
be that
hey,
guy.
it's good to finally meet you. I'm going to be on your podcast.
All right.
today.
All right, leave me alone.
Enjoy your waffles.
Jesse will call him up and go like, hey, put Gabe on the podcast so you guys can be buddies. Wow. All right. Well, are we going to wrap this one up, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm having so much fun. I just want to keep going. Jesse, thanks so much for joining us. It's super inspiring to hear your story. We look forward to hearing updates about you and what you're doing with your family and growing your portfolio. And hopefully we can inspire you to do bigger deals and buy some big commercial buildings one day and hold them. I think you're going there at some point. We'll partner with you if we have to so that you can. Maybe we'll buy some apartments in Dover. I think this.
get the drugs out of there.
I think this sounds fun. Yeah, as long as they pay their rent, we don't care about the drugs. But anyway, it's been great having you on the show. What's wrong, Trevor?
Nothing.
Trevor's going to fall.
I mean, we care about the community. Yeah, hopefully they're not shitting on the
Oh,
community while they're doing their
we didn't
drugs.
say what kind of drugs,
Caffeine. They're all doing caffeine.
Caffeine, yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We're the Deal Junkies. If you want to reach out to Jesse, how do we find you, Jesse?
At Jesse Nguyen on Instagram, or I don't know, on Facebook, Jesse Nguyen or ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. That's
Jesse
right.
Nguyen, Delaware, house buyer.
That's right. So if you got questions, you're trying to scale your business, or you want to be a killer wholesaler just going out there and owning the world, reach out to Jesse Nguyen. Again, thanks so much for joining us on the show today. Thanks for listening, Deal Junkies. We hope you're out buying deals, and we will see you next time.